Hello, lovelies. I am so excited to be here with you today, and maybe you are coming across this video because you are at a point in your life where you have goals, dreams, and desires that you want to accomplish, but for some reason your ass keeps being avoidant. And we're about to get into that today. So you don't need more motivation, you need less resistance. A lot of times people think that, they're looking for all of these things to motivate them. The vape, the weed, the drink, the person, just whatever it is, the right affirmation. Oftentimes people think that they need more motivation, but does anybody ever stop to make friends with the resistance that is popping up when you know what you should be doing? We're going to dive into it today. So, today we're talking about resistance. Why we can know exactly what we need to do and genuinely, truly, deeply want that outcome, but still struggle to take action. Instead of immediately assuming that we need more discipline or motivation, I want us to practice asking, what is making this difficult for me to access right now? What is making this difficult for me to execute right now? Because sometimes the answer is not try harder, and oftentimes the answer is not try harder. Like, we don't force around here. Force equals resistance. Sometimes we just need to understand what's underneath the resistance so we can actually work with ourselves rather than against ourselves. So knowing is not the same as doing. I know that there has to be one time that you can recall. One time where there was something that you knew exactly what needed to be done. In fact, you've probably done it before, but for some reason you still couldn't do it. You should go to the gym. You should send the email. You should work on your business, and that you want to work on your business. What habits would make you feel better, and yet you don't do it, and yet you continue to avoid, and yet you continue to resist. It's really easy to default to saying I'm lazy, or I'm inconsistent, or I need more discipline, or why can't I just do it? Those responses are not going to get you anywhere but stuck. I hate to break it to you. So if you really want it to happen, we got to X those things out. Knowing what to do and being able to access the action are two different things, and you need to have kindness towards yourself when you are experiencing struggle. So instead of immediately judging yourself, you can get curious. Because resistance is information. Resistance is not always something that we need to, just like bulldoze through. It's not something that we need to just fucking throw off to the side. And I understand that sometimes it can feel really uncomfortable to confront those feelings. But resistance is often trying to communicate something to you. Some things that you can think about next time you experience resistance. Maybe the task feels too big. Maybe you feel like you don't know where to start. Maybe you're afraid that you won't do well enough. Maybe there's too many steps involved. Feels a little too big, a little too hard to handle. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you're putting pressure on the outcome. Maybe you're waiting until you feel completely ready. Or maybe you're expecting yourself to maintain something that is not realistic for your current capacity, and that is okay. We have different seasons in life, and I think that a lot of us have a hard time remembering this, especially you. If you're watching this video, I know you're in alignment with me, and I know that I struggle in that area too. Like, just because my mind can understand what I need to do, sometimes I'm like, ugh, why haven't I gotten this done? Like, I've been able to do it before, blah, 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 blah. Well, girl, you have different struggles right now. You're going through different changes right now. So things are not to be compared. They're to be curious about, you know? So sometimes there's a deeper fear underneath the task, underneath the resistance. What happens if I fail? What happens if I fail? Or you could ask yourself, what happens if I actually succeed? What might change? What might be expected of me? What identity would I have to step into? And there's weight to that too. Be kind to yourself in the process. The goal is to understand, what is the resistance actually trying to tell me? Because once we understand what's happening, we can decide what kind of support we actually need and what kind of support we actually want. Understanding yourself is the core of your success. I got a little personal story for y'all. In more recent years, I had to come to this understanding that we're talking about right now, with the way that I take care of myself and the amount of tasks I can handle. Growing up, I was a 3-sport athlete. I was a running start student. I finished my high school credits my junior year, all of them. So I was just taking college classes, all while taking care of my family and raising my niece. As I got older, through my mid to late 20s, I noticed that I was not able to handle things the way I was able to before. And I was really hard on myself about this. It was a really, really hard time for me. And if I'm honest, I only just came out of it this last year. I only just this last year came to the point of like being more kind to myself about where I'm at now. But as I got older, through my mid to late 20s, I noticed I wasn't able to handle things the way that I was able to before. This is because I gained responsibility, I gained stress, I gained goals, and there were a lot of changes happening. I learned that I was ADHD, and I learned how that impacts your behavior as you get older. You're not able to mask as well. When you're younger, you have more capacity to mask, and when you get older, being neurodivergent, it's just like your body just it's tired, you know. So I had to stop resisting and start understanding myself in that capacity. And as soon as I stopped resisting, I started accepting myself for who I am, and I started changing the way that I created my schedule and created my life to be. Things got easier for me. I used to try to go to the gym and weightlift 6 days a week, and I was really, really pissed off. Like, why can't I do this anymore? Like, why am I so tired? Why is my body responding this way? My body didn't want to do heavy weightlifting. My body is now at a place where she wants gentle movement. She wants feminine movement. She wants to be able to hold a plank for 5 minutes. Like, that's what feels good to her. She doesn't want to have to carry so much. This little bit about ADHD and just neurodivergent brains brings me into our next section. Neurodivergent brains. There is another really important piece of this conversation, especially for neurodivergent brains. Not all resistance is emotional. I want you guys to remember that. Sometimes what looks like procrastination or lack of motivation can involve executive dysfunction. Executive functions are brain processes that help us do things like initiate tasks, organize, prioritize, sequence steps, manage time, shift between activities. That one's really hard for me. Regulate attention and complete tasks. Executive dysfunction refers to difficulty effectively accessing or using those processes. This can be especially common for neurodivergent people, including people with ADHD and autism. And this is where things can get frustrating. because you can know what needs to happen, you can want to do it, you can understand why it's important. You might even be sitting there thinking about doing it and still struggle to initiate the task. Oftentimes we pick up our phone and we scroll, or we get up and we go to the fridge, or we'll go and do a completely different thing that is way more difficult. It's so annoying. Executive dysfunction can look like sitting there thinking about something but feeling unable to start, becoming overwhelmed because you don't know which step should come first, struggling to transition from one activity to another, losing track of time, underestimating how long something will take, having 10 things to do and becoming frozen because you don't know which one to choose, functioning much better when there's urgency, novelty, accountability, structure, or someone working alongside of you. And that's why it's important to not immediately name your difficulty taking action to be something about your character, like being lazy or something like that. Instead, you can ask yourself, is there an emotional belief creating resistance here? Or does my brain need support accessing the action? How can I break this down into smaller steps? How can I make this easier? How can I, make friends with this challenge and my nervous system, and make it something that I can handle or do? How can I, what's the word? Adjust. There we go. So again, the question, is there an emotional belief creating resistance here? Or does my brain need more support accessing the action? Because those may require different solutions. If it is an executive dysfunction barrier, pushing yourself harder is not going to solve it. It's going to make you take longer, and it's going to rattle your nervous system. You might need to reduce the number of steps. You might need to define one incredibly clear and small action first to take. Maybe set a timer, maybe body double with somebody, create visual reminders. I like to write things on my whiteboard. I like to set alarm clocks with cute little emojis, helps me. Maybe you need to remove unnecessary distractions. Oftentimes, when I'm working or I need to get something done, I will come outside where my dogs aren't bothering me, or I'll go into my office and I'll make sure that the gates are up so I don't have any distractions pulling me from my focus. Because once we're locked in, we're locked in, and if we get thrown off of our lock-in, it can be very frustrating. Maybe you need to add external accountability, joining a community of people who have similar interests and goals as you, hiring a coach, coffee date with somebody. But the reason that I say joining a community and hiring a coach is because, I've gone through so many years of trying to get support from friends and family to, help me with accountability. But at the end of the day, it's not their job. They have their own shit, and you can't have consistency with an unstable variable, right? So if you join a community, there's guarantee that there are other people in that community that are working towards the same goals as you. If you hire a coach, it's your coach's job to help you accomplish your goal. So they're going to show up, right? Another thing is, make the task more interesting or engaging. Turn it into a game. We love that. The goal is not to excuse ourselves from taking action. It's to understand what kind of support will actually help us take the action. So when you notice yourself avoiding something, I want you to move through these 3 steps. We're going to call this the resistance method. First step, you're going to activate your awareness. What am I avoiding? Name the actual thing. Not I'm procrastinating, but what is it specifically that you are procrastinating to do, or whatever? What is the thing that you're avoiding? Number 2, understanding. Why does this feel difficult? Take time to go deep. Ask yourself, is it too confusing? Is it too big? Is it too boring? Do I feel uncomfortable? Am I afraid of failing? Are there too many steps? Do I not know where to begin? Do I feel exhausted? Does my brain need additional stimulation or structure? Get curious before you get critical. There is no shame in what you need to accomplish your goals, so long as it is serving you in your highest good. And even if it's not serving you in your highest good, there's still no shame. You know, whatever you need is what you need, and you will get to where you want to be with persistence and consistency. Number 3 is action. How can I reduce the resistance? We're not asking, how do I force myself to do this entire thing? We are asking, how can I make accessing the next action easier? Maybe the goal of working out for 1 hour can chunk down into, I'm just going to move my body for 10 minutes. Maybe the goal of, I need to create content for the whole entire week chunks down into, I'm just going to write 1 hook. Maybe the goal of, I need to clean my whole entire house chunks down into, I'm just going to reset 1 surface, whether it's my vanity, my dining room table, my kitchen table, my side table, whatever it is. The smaller action isn't necessarily the final destination, but it is the doorway to movement. It gets you started. Movement creates momentum. So, self-compassion does not mean avoidance. Just because you're meeting yourself with compassion is not an excuse to continue to not take action. Meeting yourself with compassion gives you the opportunity to understand, okay, why am I here and what can I do to move forward? So there's an important distinction here. Understanding yourself doesn't mean constantly letting yourself off the hook. Sometimes honoring yourself means, my body genuinely needs to rest today. Not, I don't feel like it, so I'm just going to take a nap. You get to ask yourself and be honest with yourself with how you feel. Sometimes honoring yourself means, I don't want to do this, and I'm going to keep the promise that I made to myself. I might not want to do this, but I have the energy to do it, so I'm going to do it. I give myself permission to feel how I'm feeling right now, and I will take action to make sure that I get it done. Part of developing self-trust is learning how to discern between, I genuinely need recovery and I'm experiencing discomfort because I'm stretching beyond what's familiar. When you are experiencing discomfort, this is oftentimes where, we just want to, put up the blinders and be avoidant. If you can take 1 breath and 1 step at a time, and if you have the capacity to get yourself there, then, that's the level of accountability that you get to have with yourself and that you should have with yourself. One requires rest, the other may require courage. And the more connected that you become to yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize the difference. So I would love to know how this video served you today. Let me know in the comments what came up for you, what was your biggest takeaway, and if you are interested in going a little bit deeper, I do have a community exercise inside the Sacred Embodiment Room for my Sacred Embodiment Room members. This is a place for sovereign women to rise. If you want access to the community exercise, and if you are ready to dive deeper and receive the support that you deserve, you can find the link down below. I love you so much. Please subscribe. Share the video with somebody that needs to hear this today. Let me know what came up for you in the comments, and have a great week. I love you. Mwah.